Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for Serpent Tech, and it's time for our monthly build series of what it would cost to build a mining rig right now in the current market conditions and current pricing for all the hardware. It is the absolute worst time to do it, but I still want to get the data out. I still want to present you with what the cost would be and what would be our break even. As you all know, the market crash of crypto and traditional stocks has happened, making it very unprofitable to mine cryptocurrency. Some places you can't mine because the cost of electricity is too high. Some places you can mine, but is it worth it? Many of you may have not only turned off your rigs, but you may have sold that hardware to go ahead and recoup some of that initial investment. I understand. I feel for you. But I still think there is a place for cryptocurrency mining in the future. So, as I mentioned, this is a build series. I missed last month, the month of May, but I'm going to try to get this video out before June. And honestly, the pricing of the hardware that I'm going to feature in this video may actually be further down by the time you watch this or by the time I release it. But last January in 2021, it was a completely different story. It was very profitable to mine cryptocurrency as compared to now. And I will have this video linked down in the description so you can compare now to then. And that was January 2021 where we used the same GPUs, right? So it was 6 3060 Ti's, and we're doing the same thing right now. Now, this is the build list, but it doesn't have every single component, every single part that you're going to need. So bear with me here as we go through it. First off, during the market peak of cryptocurrency, getting your hand on a dual core CPU was absolutely crazy. It was 80 to 100 bucks just for a dual core CPU. Now it's calmed down quite significantly. This is one of the newer generation Intel Celeron processors, and it's the Celeron G5900. Going to cost you around 30 bucks off of Amazon. We paired that with the Asus Prime H510 M-E. It's a micro ATX board, but it has everything we need. 2x1 slots and then 1x16, and we even have a M.2 there with 2 RAM slots. Now the RAM, you don't really have to go too ham on. Like, you could technically get away with just 4 gigabytes of memory. I did get this 2x4 gig kit, which is only like 30 bucks from G-Skill Aegis series. And again, like, if you're running Hive, 4 gigs is not enough. If you're running Windows, you could use the a little bit extra if you wanted to, but you could get away with 4 gigs on either or. It doesn't really matter. Now, moving on to the storage, the SSD that I have here is from Team Group. It's the CX2. It's 250 gigabytes, but you don't really need that if you're going to be running Hive. If you're going to be running Hive, you can do like 60 gigabytes, 120 or less. On Windows, 250 gigs is something I would recommend, but you could get away with less. It's just for that extra page file size, virtual memory, you get a little bit more when you're on Windows. Now, for the GPUs, as I mentioned, I chose the 3060 Ti. We got 6 of them, and what the total price of GPUs is $2640. Now, that's a lot better compared to the peak of the cryptocurrency market, because that's $430 per 3060 Ti, whereas during the market craze, these GPUs, the 3060 Ti and the 3070, full hash rate, right? Not like the non-LHR models, were $1,200 to $1,000. The LHR models were a little bit cheaper, like $700, $800, and even those have calmed down. But LHR is not as relevant as it used to be because it has been defeated. Now, of course, if you update to, I forgot the name of the driver or the number, but Nvidia has locked the cards back up with their latest driver release. So if you stay away from that, you should be able to get the full 60 mega hash out of these GPUs at only around 120 watts or less. Moving on, powering it is a different story. Now, just like I do with all my build series, basically you could go ATX, which what I would do is take this EVGA Supernova G Plus 1300 watt power supply, and go 80 plus gold certified, and pair it with a 800, 850, 750 watt power supply. You don't need to go too crazy, but the stock TDP of the 3060 Ti is 200 watts. And even though we may not be running at those levels, we should be tuning it for 120 watts or less. Even though we may not be running at those levels, you always want to make sure you have that extra headroom, because it's just 1200 watts just for the 6 GPUs. And with the new series coming up, the 4000 series from Nvidia, and even possibly the new AMD series, we're seeing a increase in transient loads, causing system issues or instability on those rigs. So you just want to make sure you got enough headroom, because you're not only is it 1200 watts for the stock TDP of the 3060 Ti's times 6, but there's also obviously the motherboard, the memory, any accessories, peripherals, stuff like that you have to account for. So just to make sure you have the extra headroom, you can either go all ATX, or you can go with a server power supply from Parallel Miner. Now, if you're on a 110, 120 volt traditional residential electricity, then you can get yourself 2 of these. They'll only run at 750 watts, but 2 of them, 1400 watts and some change, will be enough to get everything, good. Plus, you have the extra headroom on either side of the coin, whether it's ATX or not, to add 2 more GPUs. So instead of having a 6 GPU rig, you can have 8 GPU rig. But just bear in mind the pricing. I have everything linked down in the description, links to parts, as well as the numbers broke down for you down below. And then I just threw some fans on here. So it says $3,000 for everything on this build parts list, but we still need a couple of extra components. For example, the mining rig, frame, case, whatever you want to call it. Honestly, just build your own. If you have a shelf that you're not using, a metal shelf, get that, some 3D printed brackets, and call it a day. But here it's like $40 for this case. And this actual frame went down. It's meant for 8 GPUs, and it actually went down in price. But there's plenty of providers out there, or manufacturers or vendors, whatever you want to say, that provide pretty decent frames or cases. Then obviously you need some risers. You could go with the Amazon options. They are cheap. They do get the job done. There's some reputable brands out there. There's some crappy brands out there. So just make sure you're reading the reviews. Make sure they're not fake. And just double check. Otherwise, you can go with GPU risers, who offer a number of different things, from smart mining rigs, the risers here that are pretty beefy and good quality, cable splitters, thermal pads, and this adapter, which we will need because the ATX or micro ATX board, we're going to need to split out one of these by one connections. So for the 6 GPUs, we get that adapter. That gives us 4 GPUs that we can connect to it. And then we got 2 more slots here that we can just plug directly into. Otherwise, if you get 2 of those adapters, you should be able to run all 8 GPUs. Now, unlike my old H81 motherboard from ASRock, I couldn't get past 6 GPUs. There's a trick to get to 7, which was with the hack flags or registry edit. But to get 8 on that old school motherboard, it wasn't possible. So depending on the board, depending on the CPU, you may not be able to run 8 GPUs depending on the lanes. But it should have enough, at least in modern hardware, to run the lanes. Now, if you go get like an old school HP, Dell computer from a garage sale and then try to split off that connection, you may not be able to run all 8. But if you get with the motherboard and CPU that I have listed in this build, you should be good. You may have to split out some of those connections or power cables from either the server power supply. If you go server or parallel miner, you should be able to have more than enough connections, straight 6-pin to 6-pin for each riser, and straight 6-pin to 8-pin for each GPU. Some 3060 Ti models require dual 8-pin, so that's where the splitters come in. Just be mindful. I have a video linked in the description of how to power your mining rigs, because 8-pin is rated for so much and 6 pins are rated for so much. One thing I forgot to mention is with the parallel miner, right, you get one power supply with the standard breakout board, which looks like this. And then you can get the other one, or the ZXX breakout board, which looks like this and has all the connections we need to even power our motherboard, CPU, all our GPUs, fan control, the whole 9 yards. So if you did go parallel miner with no ATX power supply whatsoever, get one ZXX and one regular breakout board, and you'll get the job done. Here's the adapters on Amazon. You can see they're a little bit cheaper. I can't speak for this top brand here, but it says 470 rotor review. It's almost 5 stars. This one's 210. I do have this particular model right here. It's still working to this day on my mining rig. So that one I can kind of vouch for, but I'm not going to put my name on it. I'm just saying that mine is still working. A lot of people got some of these and they were DOA on arrival or dead on arrival. GP Riders offers one at $29, so it's about $8 more compared to the Amazon offerings. But pick and choose your battles. Otherwise, you can also add another connection, right, that takes an M.2 slot and then makes it a by 4 slot. That will give you a little extra headroom on this particular motherboard. But I would just get the U-bit type adapter. You convert 1 by 1 slot to 4 USB, and call it a day. Now let's talk about profitability. Right now with 63060 Ti's, you're going to be looking around $5.60 a day, $3.60. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today. $3.60 in actual profit because of 10 cents per kilowatt hour. But that's not the concurrent electricity rate for everybody across the world. Some people are paying well above that, 20 cents, 22 cents, 30 cents, 44 cents per kilowatt hour. That's absolutely nuts. So that's why many of you have shut down your rigs and just said, I'm not even bothering with it, or even sold your hardware. But because the second-hand market has got flooded, and you can see that the inventory has increased quite dramatically here on the left-hand side, that has lowered the price. And now that we got the 4000 series eventually coming from Nvidia and the 7000 series from AMD in the future, I suspect that prices will get even better. I have a video that you should see soon about that. If not, you already have seen it. So looking at Ethereum specifically, because there are a number of coins here that you can mine profitably. I'm not going to count BitTube Cash because there's some lagging information there, and it hasn't been in the same spot consistently. But it's Ethereum, Ergo, Ethereum Classic, Zero, Conflux, Ravencoin. Flux has fallen quite dramatically. Xano has also dropped. And some of our Kryptonite _ GPU coins has also dropped. So I do have a few coins we're going to look through. One of them is Ethereum, but bear in mind, Ethereum is switching over to proof of stake. It's no longer to be mineable soon. So before you even get a chance to recoup some of the majority of the money that you would invest in this rig, you won't be able to mine it anymore. Because right now, the break even is 947 days. Now, I have the overall hardware cost at $3,200. It's probably like $3,250, depending on whether you go ATX or, server power supply from Parallel Miner. But still, almost 1,000 days mining Ethereum to break even. And it gets worse because as we move to the second most profitable currency to mine right now at time of filming, it's 1,252 days to break even. And that gets even worse because Ethereum Classic is 1,300 days, not dollars, to break even. You're making about $2.44 a day in actual profit. Ergo, $2.56 a day. And of course, Ethereum, $3.38. And then with Ravencoin, you're making $2.19 a day in profit after 10 cents per kilowatt cost of electricity. And that brings you close to 1,500 days to break even. So, in short, is it a good time to get into mining? Possibly not. But for me, I'm going to continue to mine. I'm playing a long game. I still see mining having a place in the cryptocurrency ecosystem, even though a lot of the top currencies that are out there by CoinMarketCap and stuff like that are not even mineable. They may be, whatever layer 2, layer 3, layer 6,000. I believe mining has a place in the cryptocurrency and the overall ecosystem. For me personally, me transitioning from an enthusiast overclocker, which I still am, into mining was a very easy transition because I always loved tinkering, tuning, getting the best performance. When you're overclocking, running benchmarks, hardware bot, whatever it may be, you're always trying to get that extra performance, those extra points. You're pushing your hardware to the max. When it comes to mining, you're not really pushing your hardware to the max as far as a consistent state. You are pushing it pretty hard with compute, depending on the workload, whether it's memory intensive or core intensive. But you're trying to get the best efficiency. You're trying to make sure everything stays nice and cool. Long term, you want uptime. That's what it really matters about. So it was a very easy transition for me. I plan on continuing to mine, but many of you probably have stopped, paused, sold your hardware to recoup some of that initial investment and put back into the bank. But if I had $3,200 right now and it was available to spend, should you just buy or should you mine? Honestly, right now, the argument to just buy the cryptocurrency as low as they are is a better argument. But, if we did this right now, if I spent $3,200 on this rig and you spent $3,200 on buying, XYZ cryptocurrency, there is a high chance that cryptocurrency won't take off and then you're out money or you're negative as far as profitability while I'm playing the long game. I may not be profitable right now, weeks from now, months from now, a year and some change from now, but in the long run, 4 or 5 years, that cryptocurrency that was mining could become so much more valuable than the cryptocurrency that you just bought outright. So it's a catch-22. There's some risk. There's pros and cons to both sides. Honestly, I would wait for pricing on the tech hardware that we love to get even lower before you go buying anything. And obviously take care of your responsibilities, your bills, your house, your family, whatever it may be. Don't go spend $3,200 on hardware when you got more important things you got to worry about right now. And let the market just stabilize. Like right now, it's just the worst time to do anything. There's a lot of fear, a lot of concern. I'm not going to go too much in trading aspect, but there's a lot of traders trading with emotion, and it's impacting the system. And we have a number of exchanges causing issues. So it's just chaotic, and I would just wait. I would just honestly wait. But that is the price. That was the cost, right? $3,200, 6 GPUs, RTX 3060 Ti. That's the break even. That's what the most profitable is at time of filming. You weigh out the pros and cons. Compare it to what it was in 2021, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But that's going to do it for today's video. Please do me a favor on the way out. Hit the like button. Don't forget to get subscribed. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here. Besides that, you take care. I'll catch you next one.